everyone. Thanks for joining us for another rendition of our Cook the Book. I'm Tina and this is Valerie. We're here every month on YouTube for our Cook the Book. And it's where we take a fiction book and get inspiration from the book to then find a great recipe to make. And today's recipe is going to be awesome. So the fiction book that we're going to focus on today is by Ellen Meister. It's called Take My Husband. It is kind of a dark comedy book. I love the little byline here that says she vowed to love him until death, but why did it take so long? It's about a couple that's been married a very long time, and they just really take each other for granted. They're kind of demanding with each other, and kind of the spark is gone from their marriage. So the wife works at Trader Joe's, and she gets a call one day from an unknown number. She answers it, and they're telling her that her husband has been in a severe car accident. So while she scrambles to get in her car to get to the hospital, at first she's very sad and upset, and that's quickly replaced by her thinking, oh, he's probably going to die. Oh, this may not be so bad. He has insurance money. I can go on with my life without him. So imagine her dismay when she gets to the hospital and he survives. So that's kind of the first chapter or two of the book, and it proceeds from there. It has a twist. It has an ending that you don't see coming. And throughout the book, she visits lots of coffee shops with her friends. She visits Starbucks to talk about some of her woes. So that kind of got us thinking about Starbucks. If you've ever been to Starbucks, they have some really good food items. I love the egg bites.
Yes.
They also have a wonderful lemon loaf. But what do we like best about Starbucks? Okay, the coffee's good, but we love cake pops. They always have cake pops, kind of seasonal ones, some super cool ones. And we have several books here at the library that focus on cake pops. We have this one by, I love this, Bakerella, Cake Pops, Tips, Tricks, and Recipes for More Than 40 Irresistible Mini Treats. These are kind of elaborate in this book. If you have a lot of time and want to do them for a special occasion, this would be a great book for that. We have another book that just is called Cake Balls, and it is by Robin Ankney and Charlotte Lyon of the Cake Ball Company. And they're more quick, easier recipes to do cake balls that you could put in little muffin containers, or you could put a stick in them and turn them into cake pops.
Yeah.
So that is the recipe that we're going with today, one from the Cake Balls book. So Valerie's going to tell us all about it.
All right. Cake balls are actually, I guess, kind of as easy or as hard as you want to make them. We chose the mostly easy route.
Yep.
So basically for the recipe in this book, we're doing one called birthday cake, and it is for the cake balls, but we're making them into cake pops. So what we did first was we just had a box cake mix and all the ingredients for the box cake mix and make up the cake, which, you know, do 9 by 13, it takes about 30 minutes to bake. So, and that's what this is. And then what I did, I made my own frosting, according to the recipe in the book, because it says a basic cream cheese frosting. So that's what this is. And there is a recipe in the book. It's just butter, cream cheese, confectioner sugar, and vanilla. So pretty easy recipe for that. Or they also say in the book that you can use pre-made frosting.
Nice.
So either one, they'd both be fine. Like I said, we just made the cream cheese one. So, okay, so these are pretty easy to do. So as you can see, I made up the cake. So we're just gonna, it feels so weird to do this to a cake because
Yes, right.
so this is my first experience with making these. And our little example ones, my daughter helped, so we had fun breaking up the cakes.
So fun.
I'm just gonna put it in here, so.
Because you're right, this does feel wrong.
Yeah, you're welcome to help if you like. Yeah, it's kind of, you know, it is weird just crumbling it all up, and it's not usually what you do with a cake.
Right, exactly. Unless you're at a 1-year-old's birthday party.
This is true. This is very true. I remember the little smash cakes. Maybe they were onto something.
Yes, exactly.
This smells really good.
Oh, it does. And it really crumbles up really easily.
It does. And this is just a white cake mix.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't just use egg whites because you said you could use whole eggs, and we took the easy route.
And I suppose it's important to be sure your cake is like completely cooled.
Yes, definitely make sure it's completely cool, because if not, I would imagine you'd have a hard time making it crumble, because it would probably be kind of gooey. So yeah, it doesn't take, I just flipped them out of the pan. So what I did with this pan is put a piece of parchment in the bottom, so I could just flip them out and they would easily cool. And this one I did flip out, but then flipped it back in. So, but yeah, when you're crumbling up your cake, you just want to make sure you get it so there's really no big chunks in there. And in the book, they do give tips on how to crumble your cake, and they say that you can do it by hand, which is clearly what I'm doing, or you can use a fork to crumble it. Which I think is just a little easier. With I wasn't sure how it was going to go. Like I said, it just kind of felt wrong that it would be crumbling up a whole cake. But
and as we say with so many of our cookbooks, this would be amazing to have kids help you with, because I can see even like 3-4-year-olds helping with this part.
Oh yeah, they would love this.
As long as they had clean hands.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really mess it up. I mean, as far as crumble, even if you like pinch it together, it's still gonna come apart. So yeah, it's not anything they couldn't do.
I'm curious about the history of cake pops and cake balls, and maybe
it's
addressed in one of the books. It seems like just something that maybe a cake went awry and someone mushed it up, and let's try this, and let's add some frosting. Let's roll it in a ball. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. But whatever they did, it worked.
Yeah.
Then took it a step further and dipped it in chocolate.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that smells yummy.
It really does. I'm a total sucker for white cakes anyway. It's kind of my favorite flavor.
Can I move this out?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Scoot that over here.
Not that I can't be tempted with other flavors.
Oh gosh, yes.
Well, as I was telling you, that my daughter watches a bunch of YouTube. And so she was giving me tips on how to, do this. So I thought this was really helpful. Instead of just putting the frosting on top and it all sticks to your glove, she's like, dig a little well and then cover it back up. And I was like, that's super smart.
Nice.
So yeah, so she's kind of pro at stuff too,
That's
which
good.
is great.
That's awesome.
These little bigger pieces all broken up.
And just so you can see kind of what we're going for, here's a couple of examples laying up front. They look so professional and yummy looking, and you can make them too.
So we're gonna do a little well.
Do a little well, okay.
And then it says to add about 1/4 cup frosting at a time, because you don't want to add too much, because it would be too loose then. Excuse me. So we found in anything that we did, it took about probably at least 1/3 to 1/2 cup maybe.
To get the right consistency to ball up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just start out a little bit more, just because that's what we had to do yesterday. We still might have to add a little bit more. And then we also found too that when we were doing it, if we started and it wasn't right, we could just throw it back in there. And so strange as it sounds, you can't really mess it up too much. It is kind of a messy project though.
But that makes it fun.
Yeah.
And so probably best with the frosting to start with a smaller amount.
Yeah.
And work up to what you need for the consistency.
Right. And that's what that made total sense when I was reading about it, that you don't want to make it too frosting-y. Just enough to stick together.
This would be super fun, not only to have finished ones as treats for a kid's birthday party or an adult's birthday party, but to have them help with the process too, and to make them would be very fun to do for a party.
And some of them we found too would be kind of hard. They wouldn't want to stick together very well, so I don't know why that was, but we worked through it.
Yes. You got to do that when you bake. You just got to kind of figure it out.
I'm guessing that might Okay, so we'll give this a try.
So you want to just, so it kind of sticks together in a little ball in your hand?
Yeah.
And that's what you're shooting for?
Yeah. And then, so this scoop, they said you want the cake balls about 1.5 inches. At first look, we were like, that seems kind of small, but clearly it's the right size.
It's the right size, yeah.
And this measured exactly 1.5 inches.
Oh, neat.
So, but yeah, so then I just do this and I pack it in there so we make sure we get the full cake ball. And then I just kind of squish it around. Just, you know, make sure it holds together. And this one, you might have to add a little bit more frosting. But yeah, if you can see that it's kind of, I mean, this one's doing okay. Now it's kind of coming apart. But here, I'll just show. So this is what we did yesterday when we were trying to do it. And see, it just breaks right back apart.
Right.
So that makes it pretty easy.
And then just add a little more.
Yeah, we just added a little bit more to kind of goop up this because it doesn't want to come off the spoon.
And all the things you needed for this, for instance, the sticks, you found on Amazon?
I did,
Okay.
yeah, everything actually. And they have some really cute stuff. And there's 4-inch and 6-inch sticks. These ones that I have here, which I don't want to lift them up, I'm throwing cake at them currently.
Yeah.
But those are 6-inch. I just thought it would go be a little bit easier to dip them and stuff. I'm supposing that a 4-inch stick would be fine.
Yes.
Because in a lot of the kits, they had the 4-inch sticks. So I'm assuming that would be just as good. So.
And these probably are not hard to find at all. I'm sure they have them at Joann's and Hobby Lobby.
I would think
those types of places.
Yeah, any place they sell candy making supplies, I would assume. And I don't know about the 6-inch sticks, but definitely the 4-inch, I would say. Because I'd say those are pretty common sucker sticks.
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is definitely sticking together a little bit better.
Okay, good.
But yeah, so then you can just roll it in your hand. Either way works. Just make sure. Sometimes I squished that one. Sorry. But yeah, so yep, and then just form it into a ball. And what we did yesterday, then after we got them formed into a ball, we just put them all in a tray, and then put the sticks in. Because our hands were kind of messy, so we didn't get the sticks super messy.
Right.
And so then once you're done with that, after you put the sticks in, you just put them in the freezer for 15 minutes, which is actually ended up being a little over 15 minutes. And then, but they said make sure they don't freeze, which makes sense.
Yes.
Or several hours in the refrigerator.
So just, you want them chilled so they can dip easier?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go.
Nice.
And then I just lined the tray with wax paper and put them on the tray. And like I said, lined them up and then put the stick in it. So once you do that, then the super fun part comes. Sorry, my hands are a little cakey.
That's all right. And this would make a lot of cake balls.
It does.
Would seem, yeah.
It says 48. We kept forgetting to count, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, a lot.
But at least this, I don't know. So anyway. So then once you get them all rolled and they're refrigerated and where they need to be, we just took candy coating, the white candy coating, and I have a slow crock pot that I melted it in. Seems to work really well for that. You could, however works, double boiler, whatever works to melt your chocolate. So then you just take it, dip it in. And it takes a second because you have to drip all your excess chocolate off. My daughter gave me another good pointer. She said you don't want to shake them too hard because you could shake the cake ball right off the stick.
Gosh, yes, don't want to be too aggressive there.
I was like, oh, that makes total sense. So yeah, like I said, she was quite the little cake ball expert.
That's awesome. See, YouTube is educational.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, and I felt like sometimes even after I did that, see, then it still kind of drips a little, but that's okay. And then you just decorate it however you want.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
Sorry, it's gonna.
Oh, that's all right. And then once you get them dipped, do they need to go back in the fridge or anything, or room temperature?
I stored them in the cold. So yeah, I would say, I mean, I don't know if you do or not. And then it helps to have a cake pop stand when you're done, so they'll dry. Makes the drying of them a lot easier. But yeah, and then also the colder they are, not only do they not fall off the stick as easy, but then they're gonna harden quicker.
That makes
if
sense.
they're colder, which really helps you out too.
Yes, that makes sense. This looks like such a fun project, and they look amazing, and they're not that hard.
They aren't.
You're starting with a box cake mix. You can do canned frosting if you choose to. They're pretty quick. You can make a ton of them. These would be amazing. Again, like we said before, to eat at kids' birthday parties, or for the kids to make at the birthday parties, or let's be honest, any day of the week, I'm happy to have a cake pop.
For sure. For sure.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, honestly. And once you're set up to make them, it goes pretty quick. It's just kind of getting there takes a second sometimes.
Yes. And waiting on the chocolate to melt and the cake to bake. It is a process.
It is a
That's what
process.
baking
And
is.
it did, honestly, it took us a while. Like, I was gonna say, well, we did 3 cakes too. But
yes.
most of the day, I would say it probably took us to do it. But I suppose if you're just doing 1 cake, it wouldn't quite take as long.
And it's so fun picking the different sprinkles for the different holidays or festivities.
Oh, it is.
That's awesome.
These have a more Valentine's Day vibe to them, but that's coming up before too long.
That's right. And you know, if you don't have a cake pop stand, what I was thinking of, like if you had a cardboard box that you could poke some holes in.
Yes,
maybe
absolutely.
to stick them like that in there to keep them upright as they dry. That might be a solution too.
Yeah, that would work too, for sure.
Very good. Well, this was super fun to do these, and much cheaper than Starbucks or
Much
a coffee
cheaper.
shop. You know.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Well, we hope you enjoyed our Cook the Book. And remember to stop by the library, check out the books we've talked about, any other baking books, or we have amazing adult nonfiction books, adult fiction books, anything. So we hope to see you at the library soon.